Thank y'all for tuning in. This is another collaboration with HLM Media. I'm your guy, Deme D from the DagogetaTv. This is On the Rise interviews. Even though you're not on the rise, you're there. But where we, highlight everybody, man, entrepreneurs, creatives, everyone, that's putting in work and making a name for themselves. I'm here with Kill, this guy, a producer, a radio host at one point.
Yeah.
Hip hop enthusiast. You running the platform, Apartment 5B. You're on Twitter heavy. That's where we kind of
connected.
That's where we connected.
Right.
And I don't even want to skip over that. Where you at? Where's your following count right now? Because I know it's not a big thing for you, but we gotta highlight that.
Probably 21. But I mean, I don't even know if that's big.
Nah, that's big. I mean? Pause. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's major. Listen, 20K is not light work, but I know that's not what you're in it for. I know you're there. You know, you pushing your platform, you pushing the culture forward. Also work with the youth. Yeah. You do counseling. So, I just respect what you're doing and definitely want to highlight people like yourself. So that's what we do on HLM Media and the DagogetaTv. So again, like I said, I want to start with the Twitter thing. That's why I came along and I saw your platform, Apartment 5B. So let's talk about that setup. That's a variation of hip-hop convos, but you talk about many things as well.
Yeah, I mean, Apartment 5B is what, because I looked at like everybody has a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's always like when I'm teaching my teens, like what's going to be different? What's going to make me want to do that? And it was like me and my brother Ev wanted to make it where this is a teaching tool. We wanted to be that if you watch an episode of Apartment 5B, you're going to walk away with something. You cannot sit there and watch a whole episode and be like, you ain't learned nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you don't learn anything, then you know what? You're reminiscing.
I'm about to say it's still, because even if you're talking about relatable stuff, so,
So even if you don't learn, you're going to be like, oh, man, I forgot about that. Or, I totally, and that's what we wanted to be. I always joke with people, you can know nothing about hip-hop, you watch 20 episodes, and if you go do the homework, you going to have your associate's degree in hip-hop. Like, that's how I look at it, because we always want to make things. We never gonna say like, the roots is X, Y, and Z, but then it's like, well, this is where you should start with. You know what I mean? You should start with this album. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we definitely want to give away the homework, because what I'm realizing is a beef between the old heads and the young boys.
Right.
And we're always beefing. Like even on Twitter, it's like, somebody may be like, somebody was like, oh, what did somebody say? It's so much crazy stuff people say to me, but a lot of it just comes down to your age. Like somebody may say Illmatic is the greatest hip-hop album ever. I'm not mad at that. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm still in the 80s. So for me, it's probably going to be It Takes a Nation.
I got you.
But I'm not mad at anybody who...
You understand that
perspective. Like it's different. Like it's like, some people like, Takao was a 5-mic album. I'm like, bro, how old was you when that dropped? He was like 10. I'm like, bro, I was 20. Like, so you got to understand, I know the hype that was coming behind Takao.
Yes.
As a 10-year-old, you didn't know the Muffler Man and all the Def Jam stuff. You heard it and you loved it. So again, it's not that there's a right or wrong answer. It's just being able to like make a place where we can respect each other. And Definitely. I think that's the thing that I've been really trying to do with 5B. Because we got to be able to leave this to somebody. I want to be able to leave hip hop in good hands. And I don't think a lot of people my age, I'm 50, I don't think a lot of people taught what hip hop was and kind of passed down the rules from generation of like, you don't bite, you want to be original. Like, oh, your joint sound like him? Nah, go back. Like all those things. I don't feel like we've done a good enough job of passing it down to this next generation. So before we yell at them, we got to check ourselves first. And then we have to be willing to do that. So when people are like, yo, why you be arguing with people all the time on Twitter? And I'm like, I'm not arguing with them. I'm trying to educate them. Arguing, I don't want to win the argument.
Yeah, it's a discussion. Yeah, it's a passionate discussion.
Right, but I want you to just do the homework, and if you do the homework, then you'll see what I'm saying.
Nah, it's a fact, and I definitely think the show does that. So, what's the setup for anyone who may have not tuned in? It's virtual or
we use StreamYard. We're online every Monday on anywhere where you watch. Listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube because I'm more visual, so I can't really listen to podcasts.
Yeah. I don't like.
So to me, I was like, I got to do something visual because I want to be able to see it. So you could go to YouTube and check it out. And it's basically just
Any no co-hosts? You have
No.
guests
My co-host is Porsche. Shout out to my co-host Porsche out there in Vancouver.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And the funny thing is that people on Twitter will be like, "Oh, you just want people to agree with you." The reason why Porsche became my co-host is because when we met, we didn't agree about anything, and I wanted that. I didn't want somebody to just be like, to me, the show would have been whack if it's just like, yeah, kill whatever you say, yeah, kill. Like, nah. And then Porsche likes a whole section of hip hop that I'm not the biggest Pac fan. She loves Pac. I'm not the biggest DJ Quick fan. You know what I mean? So she brings that other side to it. So, that's the dopest thing about P being on it. And she knows hip hop.
And she knows
I think the thing that bothered me about so many hip hop podcasts, the women on there, I'm like, yo, why is Shorty here? Like, one Shorty on,
candy.
like, and half the time it don't even be eye candy. So it's like, yo, really, why are you here? So Porsche has a reason to be here every week. And it's like, what corrupts her? I bang with the big boys. She bangs with us every week. So, and I love it. And it's dope because women have reached out to say, yo, thank you for having a woman on your show and allowing us to have a platform like that. So, Porsche holds it down for us.
Yeah, she's been there for a minute, man. I definitely love the platform.
Yeah, we always joke that she came to visit Apartment 5B and she just never left.
That's what's up. That's how you can tell is that the chemistry's there. And you have various guests.
And then it's funny.
I made an episode.
Yo, and again, any Thursday you free, but the goal was that I wanted to have different people on all the time to kind of, like just to mix it up or whatever like that. And which they say, tell God, you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. You know what I mean? Because the plans all changed. Definitely. And we have my man Eddie who's on, we have my man Vegas, we have JR, we've got my man Vern, DJ Rec 1, and my man Rel out of Philly. So, I didn't start it to have, it was supposed to just be me and Porsche.
Oh,
and then just different guests every week. Okay. But it's like, the Apartment 5B, again, it's named after my mother-in-law's apartment in Harlem where it was like home to the family. Mm-hmm. So it kind of represents that because people would just come and just never leave. You know what I mean? So it's like that. So, yeah.
Nah, that's what's up, man. And I love to see it's been growing and you're consistent with it. I definitely like to see that when I look at other content creators, you're keeping it pushing. But I know with the music is way more than hip hop. I know you're very versed in all type of music, but just for the sake, what would you say? Who would you say some of the artists that brought you into the culture as far as turned you into a hip hop fan?
Oh man, we going back old school.
Yeah, I know.
We did an episode of Apartment 5B on what's your foundation of hip hop.
Okay.
So when you think about a table, you have the four legs that hold the table up. So it's like, what are the four legs that brought you into hip hop? So for me, it's definitely Run DMC.
Of course.
It had to be 84, 85, I'm 10. And I see them on American Bandstand. And it was just mind blowing to me. Like, yo, why does this dude have two turntables? What's that in the middle of the two? This is how far hip hop goes back to where you just didn't know. Like some people grew up, like my daughter, she grew up with the internet. You know what I mean? My kids ask me all the time, like, yo, how you graduate college and they had an internet? Like, how did you find out stuff? So we get back in those days. I'm like, yo, what's this thing in the middle of the two turntables? And why are there two turntables or whatever? You know what I mean? So seeing them do that was just amazing. Then it was the Fat Boys. You know what I mean?
They don't get a lot of mentions.
And they don't get a lot of mentions. And I always tell people, like, it really was the Disco 3. Because the Disco 3 was the Fat Boys' real original name. Mm-hmm. So that first debut album with, Can You Feel It and Jailhouse Rap and all that, that was really the Disco 3. I feel like the Fat Boys came when the record label got a part of them and they was like, yo, let's do a song with Chubby Chucker. Yo, let's do a song. They started doing these ill joints, let's do Disorderlies. But that first Disco 3 Fat Boys album was crazy. And I mean, the Human Beatbox, like, that was crazy at the time. Yeah, R.I.P. to Marky B, and Marky D. I'm bugging. And Buff, the Human Beatbox. Kool Rock-Ski is still with us, so shout out to him. But it was them. The next leg will probably be Houdini. Another group who doesn't get a lot of love out of Brooklyn. But I mean, for a moment in time, they were probably just as big as Run DMC, and maybe even for a minute, even bigger than Run DMC, because Houdini, that second album. I mean, the second album, you're talking about Friends, Freaks Come Out at Night, Big Mouth, all those joints. Then you go to the third album with One Love. Houdini has some big songs, you know what I mean? And then the last one, I probably would give it to LL or the Beastie Boys. It's kind of right there in the middle, because the Beastie Boys license, the Ill was crazy. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say LL, because Radio was just, you know, crazy to me, man. You know, hearing I Can't Live Without My Radio, that was like my anthem. Because my mom used to know, like, when I would get in trouble, I didn't care about going outside, but you take away my radio, you take away my music. So I felt like that was my anthem. I felt like he made that song for me. And I mean, shout out to LL for still going strong, man.
We was
Album
just
coming in
talking about that.
September.
Yeah, we was just talking about
know?
that on the way here, how he came full circle. Salute to my god brother, you know what I'm saying? We was talking about how he came full circle, say he couldn't live without his radio.
Yeah.
Now he's on the radio,
right,
keeping the culture alive.
And I mean, when you think about it like this, L was the man in 84 when I was 10. This dude's about to drop an album and I'm 50.
That's crazy.
Like, really think about how crazy that is. And he's not just dropping some sidebar album. People are anticipating.
I'm about to say people was interested.
People are interested.
Because we were talking about another rapper. I'm not going to kick his back in, but we were talking about another rapper who has no business dropping in 2024.
Right, right. And I mean, even with the Mr. Smith album, with the I Shot You joint, with the Who Shot You remix, with Foxy.
No, I Shot You.
I Shot You. I always get confused with him and Big, but the I Shot You. Dog, I'm in college now. So this dude took me from 4th grade to I'm a sophomore in college. Like, you got to respect.
He took me from 2nd grade to college.
Right, like you got to respect LL. And again, this game isn't about if you like him or this. And that,
yeah.
But it's about what L has been able to do, man. You know, and battle tested too.
And battle tested. That's what I love about him too.
Never ducked a battle. J. Cole I don't want to hear from him for a year. He got till April 5th, 2005 to be able to drop something for me because nigga ran from the battle.
That was my guy too. That was my guy, man.
You can't all that. I'm the best.
Nobody won it.
Nah, you can't run from a battle. But again, and I got people who are like, nah, Kill, that was smart. I said, again, it's all about how you was raised. The way Philly raised me, I'd rather take, and I've taken a beat down than run.
You could take that out.
Because you can never live down that running.
Especially when you talking, that's only my thing.
When you talk
You was talking. If a dude ain't never say, no, man, he
it's
peel
all
out,
good.
I know, all right.
But you can't be talking, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z when dude come and then niggas come on your block. And you like, nah, it don't fit right in my spirit.
Don't fit right in my spirit.
You was talking shit all the years. That fit right in your spirit? That shouldn't fit right either. If it don't feel right in your spirit, you're supposed to be on your humble joint.
Come on, man.
But L, definitely salute to L. So yeah, that would be my 4. Run, Fat Boy, Houdini, and LL Cool J.
No, Dinah just brought you into the culture all the way.
Yeah.
So, I want to touch on a few things. So, you had a chance to do radio. So I want to get into that. But did the producing become before you got to radio?
The producing came when it's like 1987, and I'm in 7th grade, and my man Cool DJ Frank and my man Marvelous King T, of course not the West Coast King T.
That was my first thought.
But his name was King T. We were horrible with names growing up, man. We would just bite niggas shit. But they came on the block one day and it was like, yo, listen to our demo. And I'm thinking, you know, at that time and point, I had my 2 turntables. There's a picture of me as a shorty right there when I was 10 with the 2 turntables, and me and Frank would rhyme over instrumentals. He's like, yo, listen to this. And I'm like, yo, who did this beat? Like, that's not nobody else's beat. Like, you got, like, somebody to produce for you. And they was like, yeah, it's my man Hollis, who lives out West Philly. Now, in Philly, West Philly was the hub. That's where Will's from. That's where Jeff is from. Steady B, Cool C. So just saying West Philly and Philly in the 80s was like golden. It was like,
it's like saying Brooklyn and New
yeah,
York.
exactly. Or at a point when maybe 86 when it was the South Bronx, you know, and that's big. It's like saying you from the Bronx. So I hear that and I was like, yo, let me go with y'all. Like, I just want to see how the beat comes together. And again, for people watching, this is 87. There's no iPhones. There's no iPads where you just buy an iPad and you got GarageBand and now you're a producer. Like, nah, this is like they said G from Ultramagnetic was the only dude in the Bronx with an SP 1200. Like, imagine that. Like, there's only one person in the entire borough with a drum machine. Like, that's where we're talking about. So to be able to get in the studio and just seeing Hollis work, I was like, yo, I want to do this. But I didn't have no equipment. Any way to do that until I got to college. I met my man Osei freshman year at Morgan.
But you kept the spirit though.
Yeah.
That's dope though.
But again, it's like we said, the seed was planted.
Yeah, because
the seed was planted. And that's like
some people get discouraged because they don't have the access.
Right. And it's funny, even to go back to what you were saying about saluting us for keeping the podcast going. What happens with a lot of people, they plant the seed of their podcast, but they stop watering it.
Yeah.
You know, they may see, man, this is too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, man, I thought we was going to have 1,000 subscribers in a day.
2 days.
And it didn't happen. And then what happened, so a lot of people plant, but then a lot of people stop watering it. But I think what kept watering it for me was, even though I wasn't able to get in the studio, is finding these samples. is finding, oh, that's
so
where
you
he
was
got
already
that from.
on the sample hunts back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Okay.
My man, cool DJ Frank, would just, you know, always have records in his crib. And then again, I don't have older siblings. He had an older brother who was a DJ, so we could always raid his crates. And my man, Classic, shout out to him and his brother Walt across the street. Walt was a producer too. So like I had Walt living across the street from me, produced. My man Ron, 2 doors down from me, who produced. So it was kind of there, you know what I mean? But when I went to Morgan, the radio station, I didn't know we had a radio station at Morgan. And even up there on the wall, that Real Rap Radio piece right there, Bobito had posted that in '93 in Vibe magazine. And I was just flipping through and it was like Baltimore, WEAA, Morgan State. I'm like, yo, we got a radio station? I didn't even know we had a hip hop
you was
show.
already there.
I was at Morgan and I didn't even know we had a radio station. So I'm reading Vibe, I see that. I'm like, oh, so it's midnight to 5 every Friday night. And I know nobody's supposed to talk about this boy no more, but it was a Vibe article on Puff. And it was called "This Is Not a Puff Piece." And they was just talking about how Puff was at Howard and he would jump on the train to go back to New York to intern for Uptown and jump back on the train to go to Howard. And I read that, I said, man, if this boy could do all of this, you know what I mean? Because I went to the radio station and said, yo, I want to be down. He was like, yo, you need this class called Practicum. It's like before an internship. And I wasn't there. I was a sophomore or freshman. I can't even remember. But I wasn't able to officially be part of the show. Okay. After reading that Vibe article, I just like, fuck it. I just went up there, knocked on the door. Nigga said, what's up? I was like, yo, my name Kill. I go here. I just want to be down. I was on some real intern shit. Like all these records would be all over the floor. They'd be like, put them in alphabetical order. I'd be like, bet, no problem. Put them in alphabetical order. Yo, nigga, go run a 7-Eleven for us. All right, no problem. Like, it was like, you can't do that to niggas no more. Niggas too good for that. You know what I mean? Right. But I was like, yo, I don't give a fuck. I'm on a radio station or whatever.
Put that dude in.
Yeah. And then when just having conversations, then when my man Vinny V, who hosted the show, he was like, yo, I want to step down. And he left it to me. Oh shit. Which was crazy because it was other niggas there who were there before me.
He probably seen your work ethic.
Yeah. And them niggas, shout out to all you niggas. Y'all know, y'all left me. You know what I mean? Had to get my own re-up DJs and everything because everybody rolled out. And I mean, I feel it. Like, yo, we been here, and now this young boy come in, and you giving it to him. You know what I mean? So, you know, shout out to dudes, but y'all know who y'all are. But it's all good because I always tell people, worked out for the best. It was a good experience, you know? Yeah, and hosted it from '93 to 2000. I actually got shout out my wife, Tanya B, who we wasn't even dating at the time. That was just my homegirl, but she held it down for a year. Because after I graduated, I moved to Atlanta for a year. Okay. And she hosted the show.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, she hosted the show. Okay. So yeah, and then I came back and then, you know,
picked it up from there.
Yeah, picked it up from there.
So what would you say are some of your I guess fondest memories from that point, hosting the station?
I think just being able to just see the industry from a different perspective.
Yeah, because
you know, you learn about payola.
Bring some insight, right?
You know, you learn about, you know, I grew up thinking, oh, the song on the radio every hour, so the DJs must really like it. And it don't got nothing to do with that. You know, it's kind of like how God said, yo, don't eat from that tree. Like, that's the tree of life. You don't need to know everything. Like, being in the industry is like, oh, snap. Like, that's what goes on.
I was just telling somebody about some shit I found out. Like,
yeah, like, word. Like, y'all do it like that. But, I mean, the memories were just incredible for the bonds that we made. I mean, being able to interview so many people because I'm a fan. Like,
yes,
the Rotten Rascals, I'll never forget, was my first interview. You know, the Rotten Rascals was dope, you know. Then the Cellar Dwellers. So, and then I think it's just being like, being the man on campus, like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, you know, we interviewing Wu-Tang tonight or Ray and Ghost coming through. You know what I mean? Dope. So to be a fan of these people in real time, so it'd be ill to interview Ray and Ghost right now. Imagine interviewing Ray and Ghost when the Purple Tape just dropped. Like, that's what I was able to do. You know what I mean? So it's like being able to do things like that and being able to do it in real time was just amazing.
That's a big factor. Real time, because everybody don't get to experience that.
In real time.
In real time.
Right.
Because there's a bunch of people that I've interviewed, like you said, definitely is different in real time.
Right, so. right. And again, Ray and I would love to talk to them now.
Right now, yeah, definitely.
To talk to them like right when that dropped
is crazy.
It's like was crazy. You know, to get the page, and this is before we even have cell phones, to get the page, like, yo, get up to the radio station, Ray and Ghost coming through. Like, and to be able to be on campus, show like, yo, nigga, I gotta go interview Ray and Ghost. Right, you know what I mean? Right, yeah, like I gotta go interview Ray and Ghost. I'll be back, yo. I'll be back. You know, so yeah. But definitely, I mean, just everything, man. Like some of the best times of our lives up there, man. So yeah.
Nah, that's what's up. And that's good to hear, man. And again, thank you for sharing your experience. Keep keep everything going because again, I find a lot of what you're doing inspiring and then motivational as well, and I'm sure other people feel as well. Beats on point. Glad to see you working with people. Keep it out there.
Yeah.
This is HLM Media on the Rise Interviews. I'm your guy Deme D. We here with Kill. Yeah, let them know where you from too. I don't think we
from Philly. From Philly. Look at the beard, man.
You see the hat and the beard.
I know now everybody can have a beard. Back in the day, 5 years ago, if you see a nigga with a beard, you knew he's from Philly.
It's Philly
now it don't.
It ain't
now
the same.
You can be wherever.
I was just talking about that with my cameraman. It's not a joke when you go out to Philly. Back then, everybody definitely have a beard.
Yeah. It's almost like a rites of passage. You know what I mean? So. You know what I mean? So yeah, Philly, that's it, you know.
Philly in the
Praying the
building.
Sixers and the Eagles can do something this year, man.
Listen, it's Giants all day, but you know.
Thank you for Saquon too, my nigga.
We always gotta drop the ball sometimes. But yo, again, man, thank you for pulling up. This is the HLM Media. I'm your guy, Deme D. Mr. Everywhere, you never there. Make sure y'all subscribe, share, check the website, all that.